Hello. Welcome back to Your Success DNA show from YourSuccessAtLast.com. Yep, that motivational oomph that you need every single day. Those core inspirational building blocks are going to help you get what you need to get done. Yeah, and it's another terrific Tuesday here at YourSuccessAtLast.com. It's a little hazy and overcast, but that should never influence your day. Okay, maybe if you're a landscaper. But even then, overcast days means less chance of sunburn, right? Heck, even the rain has a positive influence. After all, it's the rain that makes those plants you're landscaping grow. See, it's all in your perception and how you're using your talents. Whoa, I just kind of rolled right out. What a great transition. We're going to go into today's question right off the bat. How are you using your talents? Right? It doesn't matter whether you're a landscaper, whether you're a teacher, whether you're an accountant, a mom, a dad, a CEO, or a trash man, right? You have talents. How are you using your talents? Are you using them to your advantage, to do good, to influence the world around you in a positive way? Yeah. I think one of the first steps you need to do, and I say this every week, and I'll probably keep saying it every week, you might not have that aha moment today, but eventually something's going to come along and it's going to go click, and you're going to go, oh man, that's what he was talking about. And it might not even be about what I say. It might be something that someone else says, and it's these motivational building blocks, I keep calling them, that just kind of build in the background, that get into your head every day and sit back there, and right when you need them the most, they pop up and they're ready for you because you're listening, right? You're listening to these shows time and time again. You're reading what you read, and you're probably absorbing other content as well. So the question I'll ask again: how are you using your talents? Think about that today over the course of your day. Think about it as you chill later this evening, relaxing after a busy day, or right before you put your head down on the pillow. How are you using your talents? Are you using your talents in the most influential manner possible? That's really the next piece of it. Let me toss a couple of names at you. Abraham Lincoln, Martin Luther King, Henry Ford, Ronald Reagan, Elizabeth Cady Stanton, and even Walt Disney. The question I want to ask you right now is, what do you think these fine gentlemen and that lady all have in common? I know the first couple of names, you were probably saying, oh, there's a trend here, but I tossed in a few others. There was a survey done with a number of historians, and they were asked who they thought were the most influential figures in American history. I'm sorry for my friends over in the UK and Australia and across the waters. I'm an American. I'm not going to be ashamed of that fact. Proud American, as I'm sure you're proud of your country. But these gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, were asked who they thought were the 100 most influential figures in American history. Here's the cool thing. And you and I, we don't have to agree with who they picked. We don't have to agree with why they made it on the list, or even like what their influence on history was. Though I personally don't see how you would have any problem with any of the particular names I picked out and a number of the other names I read that were on that list. We could have differences of opinion on perhaps their politics or even their methods or how they chose to live their lives. But that's all beside the point. And at the same time, it is the point. You see, each of these influential people got other people, sometimes millions of people, to do what they envisioned. Sometimes it was just a handful of key people to move things in a direction that they wanted to go. And other times, like I said, it was way, way more. Some of them were able to move millions of people towards their vision. All right? So you might be asking, okay, yeah, so what? Why should I care, Ace? Well, ladies and gentlemen, influence is power, all right? And it can be used as a very, very useful tool. Well, of course, when it's used properly. Why might I put in the phrase used properly? You could be asking. Well, that's really an easy one to answer. You see, the same qualities and that same charisma that can influence those millions of people towards peace, harmony, racial equality, economical advancements, human enlightenment. Yeah, that same level of quality and charisma can also be used, or I should say misused, to guide those very same people along a path of destruction and inhumanity. And I'm sure one of the same names has come up on a number of my listeners' heads, as well as mine. The name Hitler comes to mind right off the top of my head. There may be a name in your country's history that you pull out, or from your past experience. It may not even be long-term history. It could be a name that pops instantly into your head of someone that influenced you and the masses around you in a positive way. A mayor, a deacon, your father, a teacher, or there may be someone in your past that influenced you and those around you in a very negative way. But see, here's the thing. You and anyone else, you don't have to be standing at the lectern, shouting at the masses, or even being that man or woman coming down from the mountain after talking to the burning bush and carrying stone tablets of wisdom for your fellow man, stone tablets of wisdom for your fellow man, all right, for you to be influential. After all, here's the thing. Each and every one of us is, at all times, influencing not only the people directly that we're talking to, but the environment around us. How we listen, or sometimes how we don't listen, to a coworker, a friend, or a family member influences their feelings about the situation that they're in and us and our connection to each other. How we carry ourselves influences those that we do not know personally, causing them to, build assumptions based on what they see us do, what they hear us say, mixed in with their own past personal experiences. Sometimes those observations or those assumptions are on the money. Other times they're very, very incorrect. All right. See, just the act, as I mentioned, of entering the room can change the tone, all right, of the room that you just walked into, or anyone just walked into. Because think about it. Come on. We all know that person that when they walk into a room can bring down every single one of the joyful giggles to a stone cold silence. And on the flip side, most of us know that person that can brighten a room just by walking into it. Maybe it's the things they've done, the smile they have, just that attitude. See, we're always bringing with us that attitude or the energy of that attitude 24/7. So think about it a moment. You see someone you know. They haven't said a word. They haven't made a face at you or anything. They're just strolling past your desk on the way to their desk, and something inside you shifts. You look up, right? You look out. No, you look up at them and ask, is everything okay? Here's the thing I personally believe, and I'm betting that you as the type of person that listens to this type of podcast are willing to accept. We come to know ourselves via that connection I was just talking about, via the connection and the contrast that we have with the people around us throughout our lives. The good people, the memorable people, the influential, the bad, the ugly, and the, oh my God, I never want to see that person again type of person. Yeah, there goes an alarm. Sorry about that. I need to remember to turn those off when I'm doing this, right? Each one of them, as well as each one of us, provide either a positive push via our words, our actions, our status, or even our potential to push those other folks towards the potential of what they want to do and what they want to become or what they can become and not even realize it. So if we're not careful and not cautious, we could be tempting them to give in to their own human frailties. So just being who we are, we could push someone towards the maximum of what they're able to be, or we could push them into the foibles of life and fall prey to their own human frailties. See, this, ladies and gentlemen, is the fact. And the fact means that influence is and can be truly life-changing. Not just for yourself, but for anyone you're able to reach. So, as I was pondering this, I decided that over the next few podcasts, I'm going to share some thoughts about influence, getting it, keeping it, the best ways to utilize it, for good, of course, etc., etc. So we'll even chat about how each of us exert positive or even negative influence, and literally get you to ask yourself, and I'm going to ask myself the question, are we using our power for good? Are we using our power first off, right? And then if you are using it, are you using it for good? And you need to think about that sometimes, because, but let me pause here. To get us started, let me leave you at the end of today's show with this one important tip. And I learned this important tip a couple of decades ago. The best way to influence someone, anyone, I don't care if it's your mom, if it's your boss, if it's a CEO of a company, if it's a celebrity, the best way to start influencing someone, anyone, is to ask. Yeah, I know, simple, right? Here's the deal. So many of life's secrets are just that, simple. So many times in life I've watched good people continue to sit on the sidelines at work, at home, or in organizations, simply because they never asked their boss or superior for a special project, or even asked them for a promotion. So their boss assumed that they didn't have any interest in it. And I'm not saying every time you ask it's going to be given unto you, but here's the deal. I can absolutely, positively, with 100% certainty guarantee that if you do not ask, the answer will always, every single bloody time, be no. So go on, ask. You'll be surprised just how influential you already are. I mean, all those names I mentioned at the top of the show, they're leaders, right? Anyone could be a leader, right? All right, okay, maybe I went too far that time. I know. It's not easy to be a leader, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's not. I've been one. I haven't been one. There are definitely some balances that go with both sides. But the main, and if not the only reason that it's not easy, is because most people, they're not willing to do the one thing that they need to grow their influence. Yeah, you guessed it. Ask. So, go ask. The worst thing that's going to happen is they're going to say no, and you're not going to have what you want. And guess what? You don't have it now. You're not going to be any worse off. And the best case is they may come at you with, well, could you do this for me? And you're building influence. All right. Tomorrow we're going to talk about motivation, and the motivation of you can't, how that can influence you. I'm going to leave you like I always do. Think successfully. Take action. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.